Hi, Kelly, Quincy, and the other Wiccans family. My name is Richard Schilling, and I just wanted to share a couple of memories of Eric with you. I used to play volleyball with Eric, both indoor and outdoor, and Eric was notoriously known for his sky balls. He would get back and hit the volleyball up, and if we were playing indoors, sometimes, even though the ceiling would be 30 feet up, that ball would hit the ceiling and sometimes be out of bounds, but that was Eric's serve, and we all got used to it and we were all prepared for it. The other team was never prepared for it and always made for a really good game. Had Eric down at my house several times when we have cookouts, and it was always great just to be around and gather with him and hear his boisterous laugh, and so many great memories. And for that, I'm grateful to have known Eric and sorry for your loss.
When she laid him in a manger, he was still her little child. In a city filled with strangers, he was still her little child.
Hi, Kelly and Quincy. My name's Amy Lou, and I knew Eric from volunteering at Indianapolis Ambassadors, and I was a music person also, and I think we music people find each other. And so Eric and I, for a long time, had planned to play music together. I used to play the piano, and so we picked out a song, and it took me weeks to practice it and learn it. And he came over to my house, and we played the piano and sang together, and it was great. And then we got an idea to do another song, and I struggled through it. And of course, Eric was used to accompanying himself on the piano, but although he never thought of himself as a pianist. And he just sat down and played the melody better than I had tried to get through it, and I was really embarrassed. But anyway, we had lots of fun and lots of laughs. And I think that's one of my favorite things about Eric was his laugh. When you could get him to open up and really laugh, he had the most joyous laugh. And I think that was one of my favorite things. And I also played volleyball with him, and you'll probably hear about this from other people too, but we used to call it the moon shot. And either he served and he would put the ball up so high, or if the ball was coming towards him, he would just kind of stand there and he'd go back. And the ball would go really high. We could go, oh, I'm gonna get it. Oh no, you get it. You get it, you get it. We'd have a whole conversation before the ball would come back down and we could hit it. And we could always count on that, and it was always a surprise to the other team. So anyway, thank you, we're thinking of you. We loved Eric, we love you.
And when he spoke, the people listened. He was still a little child. And when he healed the lame and dying, they would follow him for miles.
I'm Charles Manning, one of the many pianists who had the privilege of working with Eric over the years. About 15 years ago, Eric called me unexpectedly on the phone. I didn't know him, and he said, I need a piano player. I want to audition for the opera company. And I said, okay. So I said, let's meet and run over the piece. And we met a couple of days later, and he brought in an amazingly huge opera aria by Giuseppe Verdi. And when I heard him sing, I was just completely overwhelmed, blown away. And he said, well, what do you think? And I said, this is stunning. I said, I have no words. Let's go do it. And that began a collaboration which has lasted many years. Operas, recitals, choral groups, auditions, voice lessons, and Starbucks. It's been a lot of fun, and Eric turned out to be a true mensch, as they say in the Jewish synagogue, an incredible human being. And I feel like I am grateful for having this wonderful opportunity for our paths to have crossed, even this brief amount of time. But we just had so much fun, so much laughter, such wonderful friendship, and incredible music making that I will never forget. And I love you, Eric. I miss you, and I'll always think of you.
He was still her little child.
Eric, this is Tom. When Eric was a teenager, Dan and Pam invited us to their house for dinner and to listen to Eric play the piano. And I was very impressed with his talent, and have since admired his determination to follow a musical calling. There was a reading recently at Mass from 1 Kings about how God was speaking to Elijah on Mount Horeb. And there were a lot of violent weather conditions that Elijah observed, but found them to be without God's voice. It was only after all the forces of nature had stormed through Elijah's senses that he listened to the soft breeze and heard God calling him. I see a lot of parallels in Eric's life. Many challenges have come his way. He was very courageously faced them in a positive and resourceful manner. And often, these stormy clouds required time and energy and money that might have consumed most people. But Eric was faithful to the quiet voice speaking to him that his talent was a gift from God. He kept driving and deepening his desire to be all that he knew was possible. I believe that sustained him throughout his life. His legacy will be honored by all his family and friends. His unfinished projects will be completed through those friends and family around him who have been so richly blessed by a true follower of God's call. Eric, we love you much.
Oh, the shark has pretty teeth, dear, and he shows them pearly white. Just a jackknife has MacHeath, dear, and he keeps it out of sight.
Hi, this is Nicole and Leah, and this video is for Eric's family. We just want you to know that we loved and miss Eric, and we were so fortunate to be a special part of your family, and Eric meant a lot to us. I know Tony joked about me loving his singing, but that wasn't a joke. That was definitely special, and the whole family has been special to us, so we really have enjoyed being a part of it, and we will miss Eric very much. Yeah.
For the weight, dear, and it keeps you going down on the sidewalk Sunday morning as a body who's in love.
Hi, Kelly and Quincy. Just wanted to tell you a little story about Eric. I met Eric through the Indianapolis Ambassadors volunteer group, and he was a quiet guy, but he always would be there when we would go do volleyball or we'd be at somebody's house. And one time when the musical Mamma Mia came out in movie form, we all went for my birthday, and it was just, whoever can show up, show up. So he came, and during the movie, he was so critical of Pierce Brosnan and Meryl Streep singing that he just kept shaking his head the whole time, and he didn't say anything. And then when we got out to the parking lot, I'm like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "Oh." And it was just fun to see him, because he didn't really talk too much to us, but he had us all over one time for a party, and I remember him telling us all about the different woodworking he had done. But he just had a really awesome voice, and I'm so lucky that you guys have all those videos to remember him by. And we hope that you'll continue to be friends with all of us in the Indianapolis Ambassadors. Love you guys.
Look at old Mackey's back!
Hi, Wickens family. My name is Terry Moore. I'm one of the original season ticket holders of the Fuel, and I was a big fan of Eric. And when Eric was putting together his video about the national anthem singing, he'd asked me if I would be willing to be interviewed as part of that video, and I said, sure, no problem. Well, I just wanted to tell you a little bit of story about that, because it came the day to actually do the video, and he came up to me that day before the game, and he said, I've got a little bit of a problem here, that you're the only one of the people I've set up that are here to be interviewed, and so I'm not quite sure what to do. And I said, well, why did this happen? He said, well, because everybody I lined up was a Democrat. And because Eric was a Democrat. And he said, everybody I set up was a Democrat. And so I said, well, what was wrong? Why did you do that? And he said, well, he's uncomfortable with Republicans. And I said, oh man. So I said, okay, come with me. And so I started walking Eric around to different other original season ticket holders that were Republicans that were at the game. I said, Eric, you got to understand, Republicans are very patriotic people. And so I took him around and said, well, let's go get Brent Kennedy, and let's go get Rochelle, and we got Craig, and all other season ticket holders that I've known over the years, just because we got to know each other, and put together the group of people that did that interview right now. So I just want you to know that I'm the only Democrat on that tape. So I'm really sorry for your loss. It's a big loss for all of us. We love Derek.
'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home.
I met Eric through mutual friends of the Ambassadors, and eventually we ended up bowling together on the Ambassadors Bowling League. And he had the most unique bowling style. That big old hand and that small little ball, and he'd just kind of throw it halfway down the lane before it would hit the ground. And he was one of our better players, so we were really fortunate to have him. And then the following season, he brought Kelly along, and she enhanced the team as well and got him to talk just a little bit more.
I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see.
I wanted to tell you how Eric touched my life. I'm sure he's touched many at the Fuel games. I'm sure you can see by my attire that I am a Indy Fuel season ticket holder. Eric sang with such feeling, gusto, and patriotism. Everyone in that arena couldn't help but cheer when he was done. Even when he started, the way his voice just naturally flowed and took up the space for everyone to enjoy. I'm going to miss him terribly. Our prayers are always with you, Kelly and Quincy, and the rest of your extended family. Please know that Eric is in heaven and he's singing up there for the people that need it, and they are going to love him too. Thank you.
Bright shining as the sun, we know this takes to sing God's praise.
What we wanted to say was that our fondest memories of Eric, surrounded by family, usually when we're getting together, Christmas time or whatever. Everybody knows Eric's not a huge talker, but the thing that reminds me of, or the thing that I remember of Eric is his peacefulness and how that just exuded in the room. He would just be sitting on the couch and it was just perfect.
Content.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was so caring. When Anthony and I would come to a couple of his concerts, he always took time afterwards to talk. And Anthony expressed some interest in music, and he took the time to give me some information, some pointers, and he just really cared about everyone.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Love you, Eric.
Was blind, but now I see.
Hi Kelly, hi Quincy and the rest of Eric's family. It's been a year since Eric left us and I wanted to do something special for you guys with this video and also say a few words myself, something I wanted to say at his funeral. Very few people know this about me, but I'm very slow to make friends. You know, I've lived in the US for 15 years and I've only accumulated 3 friends. I have, 3 strong relationships. I'm very picky. And I knew Eric for 4 or 5 years, and only during his last year of his life, I started realizing that he was becoming my 4th friend. There were 2 big things that I really liked about him. One, his authenticity. He was a very genuine person. And 2, that was his sense of humor. Very dry sense of humor, as I'm sure you know. But we would meet at Starbucks or 20 Top and Broad Ripple and talk about the Indie Fuel video, the anthem video that we made together. And I would ask Eric, "Hey Eric, how are you?" And he would just give me this the deepest sigh possible, almost like a human Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. And he would just tell me all the things that were stressing him out at the moment, which were always, related to his projects that he was working on. And he would just never try to hide his true feelings. He was always there, and I really appreciate that authenticity. And then his sense of humor, he was very funny. He would just he rarely smiled, and then he would just say something in such a dry manner, and I would just start laughing. I mean, it was. I've never lost a friend before, so it was surprisingly, unexpectedly difficult, which I'm sure it was 10 times more difficult for you guys. But as you can see, everybody loved him. He made a lot of people happy with his personality, with his singing, and I'm very happy to have known Eric.